Hey y'all, y'all doing? Y'all, we back now. We back. Like, share, and subscribe the video. Shout out to all my subscribers who've been with me from day one, and my new previously subscriber. All my new comma. If you're not a subscriber, please don't complain. Like, share, and subscribe the video. Shout out to all my TikTokers. Happy Freaky Friday. Yes, y'all, we're going to continue what we left out. Will in this murder trial for this sugar daddy that allegedly unalived his Tampa 14-year-old client. And so he has his this is for entertainment, commenting and educating you all. Purpose said, happy birthday to you. How y'all doing? So what we're gonna do is continue what we left out on yesterday. We'll Ronnie Walker. He's the man that took him and his buddy took a 14-year-old girl out allegedly because he thought she gave him an STD. Y'all, shout out to my moderator. Shout out to everybody. Okay, I'm going ahead on to get started. Okay.
Tell you that Hugh is the one that shot her, but then Mr. Walker tells you that he's the one that shot her, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm, mm, mm.
Referring counsel to that same deposition, page 59, lines 4 through 8. During that deposition, Mr. Wilson, you were asked a question, and he was clear with you, he being Ronnie, was clear that he was the one that shot the girl? Answer, that's what he told me. Question, never told you that anyone else did it? Answer, no ma'am. Those are the answers that you gave me just a couple of weeks ago, correct?
Correct.
And then Mr. Terry asked to speak with you and showed you a copy of the prior statement that you gave, correct?
Correct.
And in that prior statement, you said that Mr. Walker told you Quincy or Q was the one that shot the girl.
Yes.
Okay. And so I suppose, again, that was information that just slipped your mind when I was asking you about it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, y'all. Y'all know I'm gonna do my commentary on this Freaky Friday, with Ronald Walker and his gangster levels. Okay. Man, I mean, they sitting here. Y'all, what's wrong with people? Y'all be careful out there, young people. I'm gonna go ahead on play this, but we're not here just to watch a trial. I'm here to share my reaction on this trial. I'm kind of deep hearted, upset because the girl went for 14 years old. What made them think that they had to take her life because of their grown behind with cheating on their woman? And this a grown man right here. And they just kept on, pewing her. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But let's continue. I'm gonna be stopping. I'm gonna be starting with my commentary here. Cause I'm on John now. I can't understand what.
This conversation that you're having with Mr. Walker, is this the first conversation or that second conversation?
I don't recall if it was the first or second conversation, but it was a conversation that we had.
Okay. Um, the conversation where Mr. Walker is telling you the details, does that happen at his mom's house or does that happen at Ronisha's house?
His mom's house.
Okay. And you specifically recall that conversation happening the day before Ronnie Walker gets arrested, correct?
I don't know if it was specifically the day before, but it was during that time.
Well, haven't you previously testified that it was the day before?
Yeah, I said it was the day before or somewhere around that time.
You believe your testimony has been it was the day before or somewhere around that time?
Yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
Conversation with the details, is that the same conversation when Mr. Walker is asking you about a bond for you?
Yes.
Referring counsel to page 59 of that same deposition, lines 20 through 25. Sorry, hang on one second.
What is she talking about?
You were asked, the conversation we had about Q, was that the day before he was arrested, he being Ronnie, near Ronisha's house? You responded, yes, ma'am, because the same day that he was arrested is the same day that I turned myself into Manatee County. Those were the answers that you gave just a couple of weeks ago, correct?
Correct.
I'm gonna tell y'all what Ronnie did. I'm gonna tell y'all what Ronnie did. Ronnie paid these stooges to take that girl out of here because they don't have nothing. They don't connect to Nilexia for no circumstances, no reasons. She Nilexia didn't even date them. She was dating, fooling around with Ronnie. So of course they're gonna continue to say that they did it. They really killed. They unalived her. But Ronnie paid them. I guarantee I don't hear nothing about it, but I believe Ronnie paid these folks. And he trying to get out of it. I want them to lock him up. Come on,
And
woman.
you're referring to when you turn yourself into Manatee County sometime in May or April?
No, I turned myself in April, and then I turned myself in again July 7th.
I understand, but I'm saying when you're saying this conversation that you're having with Ronnie Walker,
This conversation would have happened in July.
oh, you believe it was July.
You don't know? Yeah, I do.
Referring counsel to page 60, lines 4 through 7. During that same deposition, Mr. Wilson, you were asked, so you're saying Ronnie gets arrested in May, that same day? Answer, yeah, I think it was the same day that I turned myself in. Question, so this conversation that you had with Ronnie happened in May? Answer, it was whatever day he was arrested, this conversation happened the day before he was arrested. Those are the answers that you gave, correct?
Correct.
Mm, mm, mm. Mm. Y'all girls need to stop getting in the cars with these cornbread head men. Come on now.
And it's during that conversation, the day before Ronnie gets arrested, that he's telling you he needs you to bond Q out of jail in Pinellas County, or arrange for a bond for Q in Pinellas County, correct?
Somewhere around that time, yes.
Would you be surprised to learn, Mr. Wilson, that Mr. Creed, Q, actually doesn't get arrested until July 27th, long after Ronnie Walker was in jail? Is that surprising to you?
Yes.
Okay. I thought it might be.
I mean, and Lee. God. Oh Lord.
I think your testimony to Mr. Terry is that Mr. Walker said he's arguing with Miss Alexander and he turns around and shoots her. Is that what you said?
Yes.
What kind of prosecutors? I mean, said defense attorney is this? She don't know her work. Why is she on the laptop? Whew, Jesus. She ain't studied this stuff. Look at him looking at Ronnie. Look at you, looking at your girlfriend out there in the order. Woo, and these the kind of men you got like. Mm, mm, mm. Tell you. Why is she taking so long? What kind of trial is this?
Now, you previously stated that Mr. Walker told you that when he shot Miss Alexander, she's sitting in the front passenger seat, correct?
I don't remember if he told me she was in the front passenger. I can't remember.
Okay.
What? Front person just said. Look at him, y'all. Mm. Bring your neck here. Y'all got women at home and did that baby like that.
Now, you testified here today that you've never met Mr. Creed, correct?
Correct.
You don't know who he is, correct?
No.
Okay. But you were able to give Mr. Terry and the detective, Detective Wieland, an exact description of what Robert Quincy Creed looked like.
Correct.
Isn't that true? Yet you had never met him, right? Never saw any pictures of him.
No, ma'am.
Right? So you just miraculously knew what this man looked like.
No, I miraculously listened to what your client told me he looked like and gave that description with what he told me.
Okay. Oh, so this is some new information. Tell me more.
No, ma'am, it's not new. It's in my deposition.
Tell me more.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but that's what was told to me. I gave the description that was given to me in the deposition. If you give me the deposition, I can read it from that. I don't have it.
Oh, let me get that for you.
Thank you.
Lord have mercy. So it's three stooges in this. Y'all did the 14-year-old girl like this. What's wrong with y'all, man? Jesus. Wait, he come in the...
Can I question what this guy? Mr. Wilson, I'm giving you all 90 pages of your deposition. Please let me know what page it is that you see where you told me Mr. Walker told you what Mr. Robert Quincy Creed looked
No,
like.
you asked me how did I know the description. I told you he gave me the description.
Right. Let me know. Let me know in the deposition where you said.
She trying to tell him what to say.
This is the deposition. I'm looking for the one from July, from August 2nd, 2022.
You're asking for your proffer.
Yes.
Let me grab that.
Thank you.
Well, how he get in it? Y'all need 3 minutes to take this girl out. Oh, Lord, have mercy, Jesus.
I don't want all the papers to get mixed up, so let me make sure they're all.
What is right? I know yesterday they spoke on him. What he doing in this? If
I
Robert...
want to make sure that your testimony is clear because I think we got a little confused there. Is that
Me too.
Your testimony today is that Mr. Walker told you what Robert Quincy Creed Sr., the father, what he looks like.
Yes, ma'am. It's in my. If you let me see the profile, I'll show it to you.
Y'all don't miss. So Ronna told him about Robert. That's not me, y'all. That's them.
All right, here is your proffer from August 2nd.
Shouldn't underlie her no way. She probably changed what he said. See, she don't change his paperwork. He don't even understand it, miss.
Let me help you, Mr.
No, I
Wilson.
have it right
You
here.
got it? You got the correct
Yes.
page? And for counsel, we're referring to page 11, starting at line 10. Now, Mr. Wilson, what you said is that he was saying that when he said, I gave them Q's son information, a description of Q's son,
Right.
is what he said he gave the detective. And then you told the detective, not Mr. Walker, you told the detective, because Q's son that's after Q. He had dreads and was light skinned and had dreads, is what he said. But the bald head. That's you talking to the detective.
What?
That's me giving the entire description on what was given to me by him. I never stopped talking. That's just how they have it narrated in here.
Okay, so the court reporter narrated it incorrectly.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
I told y'all it was incorrect.
I, I read the entire. You want me to reread it? Judge?
They changed it up.
Do you know Q? Answer. I don't know. I don't know him, but I heard when me and Ronnie was talking, that's how I heard about him. Because he was saying that when he say, I gave them Q's son, and this is in quotations, I gave them Q's son information, a description of Q's son, end quotations, is what he said he gave the detective.
Who is Q?
No more quotations are shown. Because Q got a son that's named after, and said that Q had dreads and was light-skinned and had dreads is what he said. But the daddy Q is a slim dude with bald head. He ain't.
What the world is going on? How many people are involved? This don't make no sense. Ooh, Lord have mercy. That's why this don't make no sense. All these stooges up here. Now we hearing another something about a guy with dreads. How he get in the picture? How he get in the one on the stand? See, they changed his paperwork. These folks don't know what they doing. They changed that man paperwork right there. He didn't say that. He didn't say what they said that he said. They changed his work and he know it. But he trying to take up for Ronnie. Ronnie must be like a big time dealer, a big time sugar daddy, a big time pimp, a big time, I'm trying to be careful right here. But Ronnie must be a big time, what I mean, a sugar daddy. He must be somebody big because these men right here scared of Ronnie. See, he know he didn't say all of that. He said he didn't say this. That guy understands. Say he did not say what they said on that paper. That's why he looking at it like how Ronnie attorney want him to say that. Look at him, looking at uh, Ronnie. He know he ain't say that. Man, tell the darn truth. But these folks right, huh? First of all, how is a 14-year-old girl on the street like that at 14? Don't a 14 girl need to be running track or playing softball, trying to be a cheerleader? They don't want to do that no more? Play soccer or something like that? I mean, come on. How she get mixed in with these stooges? How she get mixed up in with these folks? Look at them. The judge got long hair. All right now. Oh. Mm-mm. Now what she gonna ask him? I'm mad at you. She don't know the case.
All right, Mr. Wilson, referring counsel to page 81, the June deposition, lines 21 through 24. You were asked, Mr. Wilson, okay, but how do we get a description of what Q looks like in your proffer given on August 2nd if you've never met him and you didn't know him? Answer, I don't know. Question, line 25. You don't know?
Right.
And then I asked you about a news article. Do you remember that line of questioning?
Yes.
So I asked you specifically, how did you know what Q looked like?
Right.
You had every opportunity to tell me your client told me what it looked like. But you didn't say that, right?
Correct.
You said, I don't know.
Right.
Okay.
Well, how'd Q get in it? If he He said, what? Oh my God. Not
I'm
one.
showing you a news article from July 15th, 2022. Can you look at that? Take a good look at it, look at the contents of it, have a read,
Okay.
and then let me know when you're ready to continue.
Ronnie described Q to him. He don't know Q. Ronnie know Q. See, Ronnie is a sugar daddy. Ronnie is a pimp. Ronnie a gangster. Ronnie is the player right here. And these are the the snackers. I can't say what I want to say. But
Okay.
Okay, hold
look,
on 1 second.
grown men.
Mr. Wilson, you've read that news article before, correct?
No, I haven't. I'm reading it now.
No? Okay. Oh, well, yeah, please finish reading it. Read all the information.
See, he ain't read this stuff. She know that they making this stuff up. That the defense attorney making this up. She making up stuff. She made this up as she went. This man don't know what he reading. Ronnie putting all of this on his candy eaters. He the candy man.
Your testimony shows you've never read that news article
I've
before?
never read this. No.
Is it a coincidence that every detail you just gave me comes from that news article then?
I,
That man don't know what he doing. That man don't. Why is they keep going up there to the judge? Look at that man. That man don't know nothing about that article, y'all. You see how court done got the defense attorney, Ronnie Fitz attorney, is trying to put it on them man sitting on the stage. Look at that man right there looking. Look how that man looking. Ronnie trying to blame him. Ronnie Ronnie Walker is blaming Ronnie Walker is blaming these other men.
All rise for the jurors.
All right, they about to go. No, go well. I ain't never seen nothing like this. Ronnie trying to put it on them. Robert said what he did. Ronnie don't want to take in charge of what he did. So he trying to blame all his partners. Y'all know how that play go. I ain't never seen no courtroom like this. She not to me, she ain't study her case. She don't know her case. She got to look at her computer. She sits behind the desk all the time. And now where he going? They about to take a break? Yeah, let me skip this and see what these folks doing. All because of you. This is all because of you. Let me skip it. These folks don't do nothing but get a check. That's how they do. Let me skip it, y'all. All right, let's skip it. I know they ain't.
I
Here we go.
arrived here in Hillsborough County May 28th, and they transported me to Hernando County June 2nd and brought me back to Hillsborough County June 2nd.
Now, prior to giving this deposition, did you ever have a chance to meet with me, meet with your attorney, or ever see your proffer?
No, sir.
So when you gave this deposition, you hadn't had a chance to refresh your memory from the proffer?
No, sir.
Has a lot been happening in your life in the last 3 years?
Yes, sir.
Have you been thinking about this case those 3 years?
No, sir.
Have you been thinking about what Ronnie Walker told you those 3 years?
No, sir.
And after this deposition, were you actually given your proffer from August?
Yes, sir.
And you had a chance to review it at that point?
Yes, sir.
Was what you said in the proffer accurate to your memory back then?
Yes, sir.
On this section that Ms. Dunker was referring to on page 11 of the proffer,
Yes, sir.
when you give this statement, and I'm going to read it verbatim, it says, I don't know, the question was, do you know Q? And you said, I don't know him, but I heard when me and Ronnie was talking, that's how I heard about him. Because he was saying that when he say, I gave them Q's son information, a description of Q's son is what he said. He gave the detective because Q got a son that's named after and said that Q had dreads and was light skinned and had dreads is what he said. But the daddy Q is a slim dude with bald head. They ain't the same person. Is all of that information that Ronnie Walker gave you?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you know what his daddy Q actually looked like?
Never saw him. No, sir.
Okay.
Now, this article that Ms. Dunker was referring to, you said you never read this article.
No, sir.
Was today the very first time you've read this article?
Yes, sir.
And do you typically read the Tampa Bay Times?
No, sir.
And you said you get your information from where?
Florida Sentinel Bulletin.
Okay, so Florida Sentinel Bulletin is where you had read about this case or heard about this case?
Yes.
All right. Now, the article that Ms. Dunker was referring to talks about and gives the description of a 6'1", slim build and dreadlocks, correct?
Yes, sir.
You described him as dreads, light skin, and had dreads. You never mentioned that he's 6'1", do you?
No, sir.
You never mentioned that he has a slim build, do you?
No, sir.
So your description, the description in the article says 6'1" with a slim build and dreadlocks. You go, had dreads and was light skinned and had dreads.
Yes, sir.
All right. Also, this article never gives a description of the daddy Q, does it?
No, sir.
You read the article, right?
Yes, sir.
It never gives a description of him, does it?
No, sir.
Does it ever say in that article that Daddy Q is a slim dude with a bald head?
No, sir.
Is bald head ever mentioned in this article?
No, sir.
Ronnie, sugar daddy.
The article gives a lot more information that you never gave. Wouldn't that be accurate?
Yes, sir.
For instance, the article talks about cell phone records indicating the man's phone twice communicated with Nilexia's phone in the days before she was killed. You don't mention anything about any connection like that, do you?
No, sir.
Do you mention anything like that?
No, sir.
You had mentioned that she was shot in the cheek. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever mention that she'd been shot 3 times in her head
No, sir.
and once in her back?
No, sir.
In the article, though, right?
Yes, sir.
Jeez. Jeez.
Did you ever mention to the police that the girl was a runaway?
No, sir.
Is that in the article?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Do you ever mention anything about DNA?
No, sir.
Was that in the article?
Yes, sir.
Does the article ever mention Erica Sweet?
No, sir.
Does the article ever mention anything about a relationship between Ronnie Walker and Nilexia?
Yes, sir.
Does it ever mention a relationship between the two of them?
No, sir.
Sugar daddy.
Does it ever mention anything about STD or any motive for the murder?
No, sir.
Does it ever mention tossing the gun into the river?
No, sir.
Does the article ever mention anything about cleaning the car or cleaning the house?
No, sir.
Was all of that information that was given to you by Ronnie Walker?
Yes, sir.
Wow. I told y'all. Ronnie set it up. This man is on trial for that. This man took the stand because of hearsay what Ronnie said. Ronnie told the man Q son height and size. Ronnie did. And he go to jail. Now where he going? Where he going now? Ooh, he don't know how to run no courtroom. Probably go get him a beer after this. Excuse me, y'all. Let me chill out. He over there talking to his buddy. Man, I don't know what they doing over here. the world? Really? This not even supposed to take 3 weeks, like they said. Let me skip it, y'all. Oh, here you go. Oh, he letting him like he like they did Woody. They let Woody in and out the courtroom like this. Oh, that must be a detective. Mm-mm. Hey, y'all will see. I know that right, guy who taking the stand, the detective. Y'all ain't organized. They keep meeting up with the judge. Lord have mercy, Jesus. God, thank you for making me see 66. There's too much going on. Young girls, I love y'all. Teenagers, please stay out of the cornbread head, man. Cars, okay? Ronnie Walker, we are trying to convict you, brother. You the worst sugar daddy I ever seen. Why y'all do Nilexia like that? Y'all did that girl like that. She was shot so many times. A 14-year-old. Here we go, y'all.
Good morning, Sergeant. If you could please tell the jury your name and spell your last name for the court reporter.
Sure. It's Gregory's first name. Last name is Van Heist. It's VAN space capital HEYST.
All right. And Sergeant, where are you currently working?
I'm currently employed as a detective sergeant with the City of Tampa Police Department.
How long have you been working with the City of Tampa Police Department?
I've been there about 25 and a half years.
What is your current position or title at the? I know you said you're sergeant detective, but do you work in a particular area or a particular group?
I do. So my current assignment right now is the detective sergeant and supervisor of our Internet Crimes Against Children and Cybercrime Squad. Mostly investigating internet crimes against children. We deal with digital forensics, things like that.
Prior to your current position, what other positions have you held with the Tampa Police Department?
Sure. So prior to this role, I was the detective sergeant of the homicide unit for about 5.5 years, from 2015 until 2020, or halfway to 2020, 2021. Prior to that, I was a detective sergeant of a district, so supervising a detective unit. Prior to that, I was a detective in a district in general crimes, and then I had some various roles in undercover drug, gang unit, and patrol.
In your career with the Tampa Police Department, have you ever had opportunities to work on cases regarding cell phone technology, specifically with cellular records, mobile forensics, and cybercrime?
I have multiple.
Okay. And have you had any specific training in those areas?
I have probably starting maybe 15 years ago or so, I started kind of taking formal advanced training, both from private and public vendors, so private companies, then also some government institutions like the FBI. I've probably had well over 500 hours of training relating to their cell phone technology, cyber crimes, digital forensics, topics like that.
Are you certified in any areas?
So I'm a certified wireless analyst, which has to do with just the technology of wireless communication.
Okay. What about on-the-job experience? About how many cases have you had involving cellular technology in your career? Approximately.
I would say approximately. I've probably dealt with 300 or 400, and that's probably a low estimate.
Okay. And have you ever had occasion to map out based on cell site records and to form a travel of a cell phone?
I have multiple times.
Approximately how many?
first started, so we get records from companies such as T-Mobile or Verizon or AT&T. Those are the three providers right now. What they do is they're keeping records for their customers. It started way back as they kept records so they could charge you based on your usage or like long distance calls or where in the world you were calling from. So they keep those records or logs of records. They would then give them to law enforcement via legal process, so either subpoena or search warrant. We could look at those records. We could see each row of activity. It's in a spreadsheet, like an Excel spreadsheet. It'll give a timestamp of when it occurred, the phone number involved, the device information sometimes that was involved, and then depending on the legal process, so if it's the search warrant, you'll also get some geographic information for that activity. So that could be the cell site that phone was connected to for that activity, whether it was a voice call or maybe it was a data transmission. And then also it would give you a side of that cell site, so which direction it was connecting to. And then those records have kind of have advanced since then to things such as timing advance. They give a little more specialized location, but that's generally how that works.
All right.
Okay.
And have you ever testified as an expert in this area?
I have,
Approximately how many times?
I believe, 3 times in this district.
And all in this jurisdiction?
Yes, sir.
All right. I don't know if the defense would like to ask you a question. All right. Now, before we get into the specific findings in this case, did you prepare a presentation to explain this technology with the jury?
I did, yes.
And do you believe this presentation will help them in understanding the specific findings in this particular case?
I do.
All right, Judge, at this time, I'm going to introduce Court Exhibit 1.
Mm-mm. Y'all be careful with y'all cell phone, cause they can show track everything you say and
So
where
this is
you
like
go.
just a sort of an introductory slide, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, now, this is slide 2. What are we looking at, and if you can explain to the jury what this is saying?
Yeah, so this is just to give an idea of generally how cell sites are set up. So you're probably familiar, you've all seen them, big towers that can be an intersection or anywhere really, and they have those antennas. Most cell sites are 3-sided. Not all, but generally speaking, they're going to have 3 sides. Generally speaking, also, each of those 3 sides are going to cover about 120 degrees. So if you separate a cell site, each of those sectors or sides of a cell site will serve about 120 degrees of range.
So what are we looking at in slide 3?
So here's some examples of, again, the slide before, but here's some examples of cell sites that are in the city of Tampa. On the left side of
Why
the
they not
slide,
letting
more
us see?
traditional cell site that has those antennas on the top, 3 sides. There's also some non-traditional cell sites that are becoming more common. They can be on top of a telephone pole. They could be attached to a building. And now we're starting to see them pop up, especially here in downtown Tampa, sites that are almost look like a telephone pole, but they're about the height of a telephone pole, but that is the cell
Yeah, I
site now.
seen
They're
it.
covering a smaller area.
All right, what are we seeing here in slide number 4?
So this is just to note that when we deal with cell site activity, the records we get from a company like T-Mobile, they'll give us the cell site that the phone is connected to. At times they'll give us the sector or the direction the antenna was connected to. When you look at a demonstrative, when we map these things out, we notate that where the cell phone was, the cell site was located, which is going to be where those 2 lines are connected. That's the cell site location. And then the shaded area is the directionality, so what side of that cell site. It in no way means that it was limited to where those lines are depicted on the graph or on the map, or the shaded area does not mean that's the area of coverage. It's just intended to give a location of the cell site and the
Y'all didn't even
direction.
let us see.
So the cell phone could be anywhere kind of within that that V section.
Generally speaking, yes.
Okay. Yep. All right, and slide number 4, what are we looking at here?
So this is a record that a timing advance record. So it's has to do with activity on a cell phone or registrations that that phone is connecting back and forth to a cell site. Timing Advance is the cell phones company of basically determining how can I serve that cell phone properly. How can I make sure their calls go through, their texts go through, their Facebook posts, all their data transmissions, things like that. So they come with technology that basically it knows generally where that phone is and it wants to know, so it's sending messages back and forth. Those logs or those messages at registrations are getting captured in these logs. They're
Running in
providing
trouble, y'all.
distance from the cell site along with an estimated location of the device. The cell phone companies say that these are estimations, that they're not exact pinpoints, that we know exactly where the device was. But again, it gives estimations. Here you're seeing, and this will be later shown on some further slides, that shaded area is the directionality, so that's the antenna that the cell phone is connected to, the cell site, the antenna, the directionality. And then that arc that's connected, the two straight lines, that's what T-Mobile is saying, that's the estimated distance that handset or that cell phone was from that cell site.
Wow.
So it doesn't give an exact location ever for where these cell phones are, just kind of estimates. So
They're estimated locations, yes, sir.
So now, at this point, we are getting into some more specifics with regards to this case. So what are we looking at in slide number 6?
So this is a copy of the subscriber information that T-Mobile provided for phone number 813-447-6234. It gives a name, an address, some dates of service. It also gives some phone information, some identifiers, things of that nature.
All right. And were you given this information by Detective Van Heist as far as the phone information?
Detective Wheelan, yes.
Sorry, Detective Van Heist. Yeah, Detective Wheelan. I apologize. Yeah. So you were given this information, and so do you know the significance of this particular phone number?
It was conveyed to me, yes.
Okay. What were you told? All right. I'll rephrase that question. So you were told that this was a phone number related to this case, or that's how you put it in there?
Correct.
All right. So 6 gives an information of an individual by the name of Daniel Tollerud. Do you know who that is?
I do not.
Okay. Now going further to slide 7, what are we looking at there with regards to the same phone number that we were talking about in slide 6?
It's just kind of some information that you can glean from the subscriber records, just showing that phone number was being used by it gives the model number there, exactly, but a Motorola smartphone which was the device being used with that phone number for the records that we have.
And so this is information you all received from the records you ordered from T-Mobile.
Correct.
In slide 8, what are we looking at here?
So again, this is just subscriber information for a phone number of 305-910-9779, providing similar information as I stated below, a name, an address of the subscriber, some dates of service, and then information about the device itself.
All right. On the subscriber number 305, who's the necessity owner?
The listed subscriber name is Erica Sweet.
What? That's the girlfriend.
And again, in slide 9, this is kind of similar to what we did in slide 7, where we kind of talk about the phone.
Yes, sir. It's just showing that number was being used in this case with a Samsung smartphone.
We got the same phone.
So here's an example of the T-Mobile timing advanced data. So what I mentioned before, this is and I apologize for the slide. These rows actually go all the way across. I've cut it in half. But this is the type of data that you would get on a timing advanced record from T-Mobile pursuant to a search warrant.
Slide 11, what do we see here?
So this is plotted activity from those timing advanced records for the phone number ending in 6234. So you have some locations that were conveyed to me that are significant to the case by Detective Wheelan that have plotted out. And then the black lines, so where the two black lines meet, that's going to be the location of a cell site where that activity occurred from. The shaded areas, as I mentioned before, that's signifying which antenna or the directionality that cell phone connected with. So basically pointing out from that shaded area. Now, the arc lines those are the estimated distances from the cell sites extending from those two straight lines. This is for activity between on May 6, 2022, between 2:50 a.m. and 2:55 a.m.
What?
That's for the phone number of 447-6234.
2:55. He awake.
And
I
the
am
phone
too.
is, that's for a period of 5 minutes, correct?
Yes.
So it does ping off, I guess, different towers. What happens there? How does that work?
Yeah. So the way timing advance records work, they're occurring very often and frequently, and often they'll connect with different cell sites that are serving the area a cell site is in. A lot of times that's how we can really narrow down an area where we think that cell phone was, or potentially if we're looking for a device where that cell phone is. And they can have distances, and a lot of times if those estimated distances overlap, or you have multiple distances, it gives a very good indication of where that cell phone was, or an estimated location.
Slide number 12.
So this is timing advance activity for the same period, so May 6, 2022, between 2:50 a.m. and 2:55 a.m. For the phone number ending in 9779. Again, some timing advance activity here. You can see some activity with two different cell sites, with one of them providing that estimated distance. That's kind of crossing over some areas there in the middle of the screen.
Don't nobody see that. Nobody see that cell phone in the back
Slide
seat.
13.
Thank you,
So
Lord.
this is moving forward to activity on May 6, 2022, between 3:05 a.m. and 3:10 a.m. For the phone number ending in 6234. Here, there's a lot more activity, and in my training and conversations with other people who are versed in these topics, it seems that timing advance records seem to produce more activity when there's more movement on a device, and that's why you may see that here. So all of those arced lines, those are all estimated distances from the cell site.
Okay, y'all, for those who just joining, I'm telling you that the phone that he is describing to you is see, if it wasn't for Nilexia phone being in that back seat, we wouldn't know the location from the towers where where Ronnie was driving in. So right now, around the time of 2:45 and 3, Ronnie came and picked up Erica. Erica is Ronnie's girlfriend. Erica is the girl allegedly that he is speaking of that Nilexia gave a STD to. That's who he accusing Nilexia giving something like that to. Remember, she ain't but 14. So that's her sugar daddy. So that's the phone he's speaking of.
Site. And then you'll also see those little black dots. Those are T-Mobile's estimated location for that device. Again, they say estimated, but again, 5 minutes of activity for that device, showing a lot of distances kind of congregating where those black dots are.
And that's kind of in the same general area as the homicide location. Would that be accurate?
Is almost, I guess, directly over, and a lot of the overlapping arcs seem to be right, probably within blocks of that area.
Okay. And this is the 447-6234 phone, which if we refer back to on slide number 11, at 2:50, so about 10, 15 minutes earlier, was in a completely different location of the city.
Right.
Would that be accurate?
Yes, I believe that's correct.
Okay.
Two different locations.
And that's kind of, would that indicate sort of in the area where the victim was picked up at 2:52 hours?
Yes, sir.
Does the data correspond with that location, that the cell phone is in that area?
Yes, it does.
And then with the phone number 305-910-9779, tell me about this slide number 14.
So this is also for the same day, May 6, 2022, for that time period between 03:05 a.m. to 3:10 a.m. The phone number ending in 9779. It's showing very similar activity as the previous slide, the other number we're speaking about, with a lot of estimated distances that are at or near the area of the homicide location. It's unfortunately it's also red, but it's connected to that red line homicide location.
Sugar daddy
That's the
freaking out.
plot of the homicide location that was provided to me. So you'll see a lot of the red dots of estimated locations for the cell phone itself, and then those arcs, which are estimated distances from the cell site, which are several are overlapping in that area.
So based on this data, would you say it's consistent with that cell phone 305-910-9779 being in the area around the homicide location?
Yes.
Wow.
Slide
Ronnie,
number
you
15.
tripping.
What are we looking at on this particular slide?
So this is for activity for the phone number ending in 6234, now from 3:30 a.m. to 3:34 a.m. The map has also been magnified out, so you're getting a larger view of the city, of the area, because the phone is now showing activity up on the, I guess it's the left side of the screen,
334.
up near a plot called Thornton's, which is a gas station at Armenia and Hillsborough. So it's showing the device was connected to a cell site just a few blocks actually away from that gas station, and those estimated distances are seen to be crossing over or nearby the gas station, along with some estimated locations of that device nearby also.
And detective, was that part of what drew this investigation to that Thornton's, this evidence that came out of this?
Yes.
And then finally, slide number 16. What do we see here?
So this is activity for the phone number ending in 9779 for the same time period, May 6, 2022, between 3:30 and 3:34 a.m., showing the timing advance activity or the records where that phone is also associated with a cell site located very near to the Thorntons there, with estimated distances crossing over or nearby the Thorntons, along with estimated device locations in that area.
So detective, based on your looking at these records, would it appear to you that the phones were in the same general location around the same time?
Yes.
Judge, I'm now going to provide this to the clerk as states.
22, y'all, was a year, man. There's a lot was going on in 2022 after the COVID.
Now, when you download these sites into a mapped format, is there a way to show the sites, the phone moves, the movement of the phone?
There is. So there's a tool we can use. There's several tools. The one I use will let you input those Excel spreadsheets. So the data that we get from a company like T-Mobile, it'll plot these out on a map, show the directionality. But then also you can play the movement. Basically, you can create an animation showing the movement of the device associated with the cell sites, and you can speed it up too. So, for example, a minute of activity on the records, we can show it in 5 seconds on the animation.
And did you create, for purpose of this case, 4 different animations showing the movement of these phones?
I did, yes.
All right. I'm going to show you, and I'm showing you what's been marked as state exhibit 18.
Y'all, let me share something with y'all. I'm gonna let him talk. These people are committing crime with the cell phones on. They didn't even make. They didn't even.
Okay. Are those the ones you created?
Yes.
Nilexia didn't have no idea
Of those cell phones,
that
according to the cell site data you received.
Yes.
she was gonna
At this point, we would
be unalive that night.
A through D admitted into evidence.
She had no clue that she wasn't gonna see
All right.
life
I'm
no
going to
more.
start with 18A. This is indicated on the CD as 0250 to 0340 for 305-910-9719. Is this the one you created?
Yes.
All right.
This is crazy. never seen nothing like this before. Everybody phone on, binging everywhere, just bing, bing, bing. Just don't make no sense. Problem. What are you waiting on? Yeah, please, please love your kids. If you love them so much, talk to them. Don't forget, y'all. Lexia was in a home. She was in a adoption home since she was 2. And when she found out about her biological mom, parents, that really like turned her off. And she got like mixed up in a runaway situation. Remind you of Naziah Harris. That's what this case remind me of. What in the world are we waiting on? Jesus Christ. What are they doing?
Right, detective, we put that. Now, there are times where there's nothing on the map. What happens there?
So there's just that activity occurring on the records.
Okay, and occasionally we see what appears to be a cell site tower that's located in a completely different location from where it's being dissipated before. How is that possible?
So there could be different explanations. Cell phones operate on radio waves, so sometimes in dense urban areas, you're going to have, I believe, what's called reflections, or if a signal is bouncing off of multiple buildings, it could bounce and then give over to a cell site that's not near the area where the device is. There's times also too where a phone, T-Mobile uses what's called a distributed antenna system, or a DAS system. Big base stations. There's one located, I think that's actually some of the activity that we see on that map there, located there at 40th and Hillsborough. It's connected via fiber underground to smaller cell sites. I think we saw one earlier, like on the top of a telephone pole. At times, the timing advance records have not been updated or show.
Y'all know I noticed something about cases that we've been covering over here about the cell phone situation. You notice like T-Mobile wants you to get a T-Mobile phone. Every time they change up services, they want you to get their phone because the towers. I've been so educated in a lot of stuff with these AT&T towers. I'm learning a lot. I'm getting educated on a lot of things that when these people get on the stand, for those who I think people need to be educated on what he's explaining to you. He's very simple and clear. And I heard what he said about the circle, how it when he was talking about the towers and the signals when Naziah Harris case. The same when they were trying to follow Jarvis. I heard the lady who was on the stand, the same personnel who does what he do, was explaining the same thing. The circle in the towers. This is so interesting to me. Interesting.
The connection with the smaller cell site and are still reverting back to that base station. There's a couple different explanations that could be why that occurred.
But overall, that map fairly accurately depicts kind of the movement of the phone during the course of that time period that you documented.
Yes.
now States Exhibit 18B.
Very
This is
interesting.
related to the cell phone 813-447-6234, correct?
Yes.
See, Ronnie was in these areas, y'all, because her phone's still back there. Just hitting against that darn tower. Oh, I see what they doing. They are not describing. They letting the jurors see what they are looking at. They need to be explaining what the jury is looking at right here. Instead of just putting it up like that. Explaining them what the blue line mean, what the purple line mean. Moving that out the way. See right there? That means that Ronnie didn't even get no sleep. He picked up Erica. Where did him and Erica go? Him and Erica, did they go back to the site? The sighting? Because she didn't know nothing about where they put Lexia body. So Erica is the girlfriend. So where did he take her at at 4 o'clock in the morning, or 4:30 in the morning? Did he backtrack, nervous, and she know that he got rid of her, or what? I can't wait till she take the stand. I ain't never seen no sugar daddy do something like this, man. He the worst sugar daddy I ever seen. On a freaking Friday. On a 14-year-old girl. He let somebody else do this to her instead of him because he couldn't do it. He's a coward.
Now, do you also have the ability to overlay the two telephone numbers together in one continuous map?
Yes, you can combine the sets of records to show the movement at the same time.
And do you delineate them or separate them by different color of their cell site maps?
Yes.
That's what I just
So,
asked.
for instance, so what we've seen so far is the 305-910-9779 appears to be in red in the
That's what I said.
447-6234 appears to be in black. Is that true?
That's correct.
All right. And did you do that in States Exhibit 18C?
Yes.
I'm now publishing States Exhibit number 18.
That's what I was asking y'all just a few minutes ago. Why is he not letting him explain what the blue mean, what the red mean? Instead of just putting it up there like that, explain it. This is weird. It's a weird courtroom. See, you got two different colors.
They're synced up time-wise. Is that be accurate?
That's correct.
Why they not talking about that? They need to discuss what we're looking at. Instead of putting something up there, I get what he's saying. The diagram that he's showing up there, the slide that he's showing is showing the location where, see where the circle at up there? That's the way it was doing in Jarvis Butt's trial. Look at it. Look at the phone binging up there. Good cootie doodie. Of course, her number is gonna bing wherever he go because her phone is in the back seat. That girl smart. She knew something about that happened to her. So without Nilexia putting her phone in that back seat, we wouldn't even be able to track this, y'all. But I can't believe Ronnie still got his phone on. Look at his phone binging up there. Just a bing, bing, bing. Just a driving and nervous. I don't believe he knew at this because he don't did something like this before, but not he never did take nobody's life.
So, Detective, I think it's pretty clear, but just so based on your understanding and expertise as far as in this area, do those phones appear to be traveling in concert?
They do, yes.
Now, were you given information in this case that the cell phone belonging to 813-447-6234 moved the next day?
Yes,
All right. And did you, in fact, map out the coordinates of that movement of that phone?
I did.
And as a result of that, did that assist in the investigation in this case, in fact, locating the individual as well?
Can he speak up?
Yes.
Speak to your mic.
States Exhibit 18D. So this is the following day, correct?
Uh,
Or the same day, I guess, just later in the afternoon.
the same day, later in the morning, in the afternoon. Yes.
God.
At 3 o'clock to 3:40 p.m., correct?
That's correct. 3 p.m. to 3:40 p.m.
Why? I ain't never seen no trial like this. I usually hear the guy that the technician or whatever he's supposed to be, analysis, whatever he's supposed to be, describe what we're looking at. Oh, I'm surprised the jury didn't say nothing. Man, we got 3 weeks of this. 2 more weeks. How y'all doing out there? Any birthdays out there? Happy birthday to y'all. Yeah. Have y'all ever seen a sugar daddy do something like this? Sugar daddies don't do this, but they pay other folks to do. That what Ronnie did. This is, mm, 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 mm. Man, come on. I'm about to skip some of this. They boring.
That phone appears.
Okay, let's get to her. Man, who is she? Who is that woman right here, guys? Why is he over there been running? Come out from over there. I'll be bothered with y'all no more. Come on, man. You in the courtroom. You the prosecutor. Why is you talking to the defense attorney? Lord, help me, Jesus. I'm gonna stick on this trial too. Look at her like, man, come on here now. I got a date today. I need to eat my dinner. Now come on here, honey. You holding me up. It's Freaky Friday, and I ain't got time to be sitting up in no courtroom. Now, why is the prosecutor over there talking to the defense attorney? Look at her. Look at her. Y'all, I used to cough when I be in a place and people call my name and I get somewhere and I get to sit down on you on right there. I say, I'm here. Do you see me? Okay. I'm over here. Do you see me? They don't call her in there and they not even ready to talk. The cameraman doing. We here keep the camera still. So how y'all doing? What y'all got planned for the weekend? Y'all be safe out there. Juneteenth weekend still going on. Y'all still a lot of things going out there with people with their business. parades and cookouts and everything. Y'all be safe out there. Don't be trying to wild out and like that. Have a good time though. Have a good time. Be around some good time people. Cause that's what I'm gonna do. Don't let nobody fun and your joy away from you. Be safe out there. Be careful who you get in the car with. And the main thing, when you get in the car with people, you got to be careful out here, man. People get you in the car and they'll switch and change on you so quick. And you be like, oh, Lord, I should have drove my car. That's why I drive my car to wherever I want to go. I ain't got to put up with nobody. So be careful about getting in the car with people. But see, let's see your trusted Ronnie Walker. He freaked out on her once he found out through Erica, his girlfriend, that he had an STD. So he wants to blame somebody. All the men's always blaming the women about stuff like that. You know, about yeah, you gave me this, you ain't held this right here. We don't. They don't know. Women don't know who you mess with. You mess with them. Y'all got to be careful out there. There are raincoats out there, so I want to be careful what I say because I want to respect you too. What it they talking about? Hold on, y'all. Let me skip this.
in our morgue so that we can document purposes with photography and making sure everything matches and we have a good chain of evidence with that individual. So, especially in a homicide, when they come from the scene to our facility, the body bag actually has a red tag on it in order to determine that it was consistent with coming from the scene into our facility. And then I'm present at that time when our morgue technicians will process the body. So that's collecting evidence that's on the body, that's fingerprints, fingernail clippings, hair clippings, photography, and x-rays of the individual. Then I do an external examination, and that's where I'm documenting hair color, eye color, identifying factors, along with things like injuries that I need to document and any evidence that I might see visually on the body. Then the body is cleaned so that I can even further look, make sure there's no injuries hiding underneath clotted blood or any debris, maybe dirt that might be under any wounds. And then that proceeds into the internal examination. And that's what the traditional autopsy that we think of. So opening up the body,
Okay.
looking at wound paths, looking at the organs, and checking for any injuries or natural disease. And we're collecting toxicology specimens at that time. That's blood and urine, those kind of things that we may need to process in the laboratory. The organs are then taken from the body, and I'm looking at them visually again with the naked eye, and taking sometimes, depending on the case, small sections to look underneath the microscope for any kind of natural disease that I can't see with the naked eye.
Smart girl.
That time,
Okay.
that's the end of the autopsy, and throughout that whole process, photographs are being taken, again with that unique case number.
All right. And you mentioned fingernail clippings. Those are given usually to law enforcement at that time?
Yes, we collect the evidence, and then at the end of the autopsy, the evidence is packaged and given to law enforcement for their process.
Pamper.
Okay. Is one of the things that you collect a blood stain card?
Yes.
And how do you collect that, and what is that for?
So while I'm in that internal portion of the autopsy, I am taking blood samples directly from a blood vessel, and then that blood is then put into a syringe and placed on a blood card. And then that blood card is used for the purposes of DNA testing that may be done.
All right. I'm showing you what's the mark States Exhibit 20, and ask you to take a look inside.
Let us see. Let us see what's going on here.
I'm sorry. Stick together. Yes. So this is my signature, yes.
Do you recognize this?
Yes.
And what is this?
This is the blood spot card. So again, taking the blood specimen from directly inside the body and placing it onto a card and allowing it to dry for DNA purposes.
All right. And that's pretty common in any case, or a special case.
Every case we do, homicide or not, is done.
Everything. Okay. Judge, at this time, I've moved out of States Exhibit 20 and do you also obtain the height and weight of the individual that you are about to conduct an autopsy on?
Yes.
And this particular case of Nilexia Alexander, which I guess I should ask first, were you involved in the autopsy of Nilexia Alexander?
I was.
All right. Did you obtain a height and weight for Nilexia Alexander?
Yes.
What was that?
Referring to my autopsy report, page 3, she was 5 foot 9 inches, 180 pounds.
She was tall. 5'9". Oh,
You mentioned that pictures are taken. Is that correct?
Correct.
sit down. Mm-mm. I don't care how tall they are. She's still 14. Mm-mm.
Doctor, you mentioned that in performing autopsies, you also take photographs as you're going through to document the injuries and the locations of the injuries. Is that pretty common?
Yes.
All right. And would those pictures aid and assist you in demonstrating to the jury the injuries that Nilexia Alexander suffered in this case?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibits D2 through D27 and ask if you can take a look through those photographs.
Autopsy, y'all. Mm-mm-mm. 14 years old.
Doctor, have you had a chance to look at those?
I have.
Do those pictures fairly and accurately depict the autopsy pictures that you took when you conducted that autopsy on that day?
They do.
State's Exhibit D2 through D27 admitted into evidence.
I wish she'll sit down. Wait till her turn.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I'm going to show you now what's marked as State's D2. Now you had mentioned that when they're brought in with a unique identification number. Is that identified in this case?
Yes, it is.
And can you point that out to the jury so that they can see that?
Yes. Case number.
So that 22-04281 that's depicted on this picture, that's the case number?
Yes.
And it's marked underneath there, unidentified. At this point in time, did you know the individual's name is not Nilexia Alexander?
No, we did not have a name for her at that time.
All right. And this is kind of a typical picture to take to show the facial characteristics of the individual who you're about to conduct the autopsy on.
Yes, we do an identification photo so that we can show family potentially if identification is needed visually.
Okay. Now it shows on this photo, it appears that one of her eyes on the right side is swollen to some degree and black. What is that from? Is that what she hit there, or is that from something different?
So as we'll see further, there are gunshot wounds to her head and they created fractures on the inside of her skull, and that allows blood to get underneath the skin and can collect around the eye, giving this bruised eye, black eye look.
Now, before I get into the rest of the pictures, Doctor, if you can please maybe briefly kind of describe what these injuries were that you noted on Nilexia Alexander when she came in.
Sure. So she had 4 total gunshot wounds to her body. All were entrances and exits, so 4 pairs of wounds, 4 gunshot wounds, as well as 2 bruises, 1 to her left arm, 1 to her right forearm, and some small healing abrasions on one of her ankles.
Wow.
Now I'm going to start going through those, and Doctor, before I get into the specific injuries, are you able to calculate or determine just based on those injuries the timing of those injuries?
No, I cannot.
All right. All right. I'm going to start with states D3. Do we see a particular injury in this particular case?
Yes.
All right. And where is this injury? Is that notating a specific injury?
The marker, the ruler with our case number is providing some scale for the noting the injury, which is just above the scale, above the number 3.
All right, can you describe this wound to the jury?
So this being entrance gunshot wound to the back.
All right.
Thank you for moving it.
Where did this wound travel? What was the travel of the wound?
So this went from the left side of her back to the right side of her back. Again, this is what we call a perforating wound or an through and through wound.
So no projectile was recovered from this?
Correct.
All right. So can you give the general direction of travel? You said what goes through the back?
Yes, I to the case reports on page 8 of the report. So this is going to travel, and this is with reference to her standing in standard anatomic position. What that means, so the person is looking directly at you, arms at their side, and their palms facing forward. So there's a lot of movement with arms, so we do what we call standard anatomic position so that everyone sees the same.
We can't hear you.
Arms at the side and palms forward. And this is based on how through her, so her lefts and rights. So in this case, the wound went from her left to right, front to back, and downward.
All right.
God, she went for 14 though.
Example of the standard.
Why do her?
Yes.
Does this, was this in fact your diagram that you used as a diagram to show the wounds?
Yes, these are my notes from the autopsy.
Fairly accurately shows.
Yes.
Who does these? Do you want to evidence?
Y'all know, to be honest with y'all, Ronnie handled this young lady as if he knew somebody in the mama family, in her adopted mother family. I'm gonna say her mother because she about adopted her since she was 2. He act like he know somebody that knows it, somebody in her family somewhere that knows her. The way he treating her, how could he do her like that? I just can't see how he could even pay somebody else to do her like this. Man, it's just so much different thinking and things like this going on. I just can't. It seemed like he mad at. I know he was mad at her because of the STD, but this is worse. I mean, this is got to be more than just that to me. I think he knows somebody in her family. Or either knows somebody in her for the mother family. I don't know why I think that.
So when you're talking about the standard anatomical position, as you demonstrated, this is kind of a diagram that you will use in these kind of cases.
Yes.
And the injury you're referring to that we're talking about right now, this is the injury that you said occurs right here, correct?
Correct.
Fingers pointing, which is sort of on the back, with the back portion.
Why did they keep shooting her like that?
Just below the head.
I don't understand it.
And you said it enters there and then it exits. Would this be the exit wound consistent with that?
Yes.
Why did they keep shooting her like that, y'all?
Right, and in D4, let's just give a more close-up view of that particular entrance wound.
Hey, my 40s.
And D5, what are we looking at here?
Thank you.
So this
See,
is
I
more
said the same thing you said.
to what we just saw in the back. So now we're more on the right side of the
Why
back.
did he choose?
And how
I'm like you, 14. Why did he choose her
Entrance wounds and exit wounds kind of have
to
the same
think
features
that
as
she
the
gave him
bullet
an
goes through
STD?
The body. So with entrance wounds,
I think the girlfriend gave it to her. I don't believe that girl is 14 years old. She is afraid of
as
him.
well as what we call a tissue deficit. So
Why would she give him that?
through the skin, I can't put the margins of that.
I'm like you now.
Exit wounds, however, I can typically fold the tissue back together. If I were to do it like a puzzle piece, it would go back together.
So in D4, do we see some of what you're talking about, the abrasion or anything like that?
Yes.
You can stand up.
So this red pink area here.
It seemed like he deal with prostitutes. It seemed like he deal with women who work the street.
Kind of scrape the skin.
I believe he was jealous and thought she was out
Exit
here.
wound doesn't have
That's what I
Correct.
said.
In this case, if you were to fold the tissue edges
I
together,
said the
they would
same
come back
thing.
together.
So in D6, which is a more closer look at
Exactly
exit
what you
wound,
said.
you can kind of see how you do it there.
Yes.
And then what getting to me
Um,
about the autopsy?
Doctor, was this a fatal
They
injury?
shot. She was still. She's a
Could this
fighter.
injury have been
Her body
preventable?
wasn't taking one bullet. It didn't
The
take
person
that
who
other
suffered
bullet.
this
Four,
injury
four,
still
and
be able to
14.
walk
Don't
around
add up. This is another Jarvis Butts case. Naziah Harris case.
suffer this
He
injury
was 40
to
in his 40s, and she was in her in
Yes.
just 12. And here you go with another 44 and a
movements of the body at the
14.
time of shooting, correct?
Correct.
So
Now,
her position could have been any
I
manner of
think
place
her body. I
that
think
shot occurred.
Yes, there are a variety of positions she could have
she's
been
a
in.
fighter. Her body was fighting because when he
So
said
she was
pow, 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 she was
so when
still
Ronnie
moving.
was about to shoot her, he bends down like
She
that.
was still
That
moving. Her
means
body
he's
was still
shot
moving.
at the angle of the shot.
And they couldn't understand it. Well, hey, man, well, let's do it this way then. She ain't going down, man. We can't leave her alive, man. Do it again, man. Man, this is sad. These
All
young
right.
girls need to stay out of these cornbread cards.
What was now? There's another one you talk about. When we go to States Exhibit D7. What are we looking at here?
So this is an entrance gunshot wound on the left side of her head.
Okay.
Left side of her
Explain
head.
to the jury what this wound, how it, what happened to it.
Yes. So this
Right.
entrance wound is on the left side of her head and enters her into her scalp and then into her skull and brain.
I believe she was trying to get away for it,
Specifically,
T.
I'm referring to page 5 of my
No, no,
report.
you good, baby. You
Enters the
good.
left parietal hair-bearing region of her scalp and then the left parietal bone, so side of her head here. Enters the parietal lobes of the brain, the left and the right, and then
Shot her
exits
in
out
the
the right
head.
parietal bone on the side of her scalp, and that's where it exits.
Okay. And so in States Exhibit D8, is that just a more close-up view
They
of that
put her in
wound?
the head.
Yes, and again, we can see that red area marginal abrasion a little bit better on this one.
Okay. So that definitely indicates that it's an entrance wound.
Correct.
Was there any evidence of close-range firing on this?
No.
Tell the jury, if you could, what close-range firing, what sort of evidence you look for.
Sure. So sometimes if the muzzle of the weapon is close enough to the body, then we get what we call evidence of close range firing. So other than the bullet being ejected from the end of that muzzle, the unburnt gunpowder will actually eject from the end of the muzzle as well, and then some soot, so that like light gunpowder, but burnt. So if you are close enough to an individual when they are shot, the unspent gunpowder hits the body very hard and creates these.
So that means that while she was trying to get away, they
and
shot her
if it's
distant.
closer to the person, then the very light soot actually can hit the skin as well. So we'll see soot and gunpowder stippling on the skin. In this case, I see neither.
Okay. Now she had how would you describe her hair?
She had very thick, full hair.
All right. Could that have maybe absorbed some of that so that you would not be able to see it in this particular case?
That's possible. Any intervening object, whether it be clothes, thick hair, hats, things like that.
She was
those can
running.
block, the evidence. Close range firing doesn't mean it's
Praise
not
God.
close in firing distance. It just means it doesn't leave that evidence of it.
All right. And you indicated that this wound that we were referring to in D7 has an exit wound on the other side of the body. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. And it's on the other side of the head. Would D9, is that the corresponding exit wound to that particular shot?
With reference in this photograph above the ruler, so to the left in the photograph, yes, that is the
Right here.
corresponding exit wound. Correct.
That is the corresponding exit wound. All right. And so was this wound immediately fatal?
This would be very quickly fatal, yes.
Very quickly fatal.
Okay, so that second.
She was on an operating table. They probably still would not be able to. She would probably not survive.
Correct.
Was this wound immediately incapacitated?
Yes.
So once suffering this wound, she would have just collapsed immediately.
Yes.
Correct. All right.
So on that second shot, y'all, that's when she collapsed.
And D10.
Well,
This is just an
he
example
was
showing
out
how this is
of-
an exit wound.
Correct.
You know what? I don't understand why he was out of prison early. I just
Describe that
don't.
wound. What was the directionality of that, or the path of travel of that wound?
So again, we're referring to page 5 of my report.
They weren't
The
doing their
direction
job. She wasn't doing her job.
for her would be left to right, slightly back to front, and upward.
Okay. And on States Exhibit D1 on this chart, where is that particular demonstrated on here?
I don't understand that either.
So underneath the L here, this is the entrance
I
room.
don't understand why he would. He act like he hook up with somebody in that jail. Somebody act like they got to hook up with him. Cause ain't no way in the world he supposed to be out from he like the attempt murder with his other girlfriend, with another girl. I think he a pimp instead of sugar daddy. He act like a pimp to me.
Doctor, I may need some help with some of these other photographs that show these wounds, but as far
That
as
ain't no sugar daddy.
let me start with one that I'm pretty certain is. I'm going to show you what's marked as States Exhibit D11. What are we looking at in this particular instance?
So we are looking at an inch gunshot wound on the right side of her face. This wound has those characteristics of the close range firing I was talking about.
Uh-uh.
The gunpowder stippling, so that's the tiny little red.
So one on close range.
From the unspent gunpowder, the unburnt gunpowder. And then there's a very fine gray mist to that. That's the soot.
I believe when she was trying to get away, she was trying to get away, and they kept a PL, and then
How far a distance do you think the muzzle was?
they ran up to her and got close.
So you'd actually have to fire that exact same weapon with that same projectile to get the precise distance fire. But generally speaking, with handguns, soot only travels about 12 inches, up to 12 inches. And the gunpowder stippling,
12 inches.
A little bit farther, but since we have the soot here, it narrows that frame of distance down to around 12 inches.
So they were chasing her.
Opinion be that the muzzle or the gun was within 12 inches of her face at this point.
Yes.
Mm-mm-mm.
And it states D12. Does that also give you a more? Can you help with the description of the actual stippling?
Yes, so now this is a closer picture of what we can see, and I'm not sure if it's projecting very well for you. There's a gray haze in and around some of these
They ain't got no stick to give her so we can hear her.
tables, and then the gray.
We can't hear her. This cord here's something else.
Now, did this wound have a corresponding exit wound?
It did.
Okay, so this was as you said, perforating. They all were, correct?
Yes, all 4 wounds were perforating.
All right. Where did this wound exit?
So the corresponding exit wound is on the back of her neck.
Wow. They kept those percentiles close upward, upper part of her body.
D16.
They were trying to take her out of
Where
here.
that exit wound is?
Yes, the back of her neck, around that hairline. Yes.
So it appears there may be 2 in this particular instance. Which one?
I don't feel them. I don't even feel them. Look, see, I thought I was the only one. I'm not even feeling the prosecutor nor the defense.
Where the path of travel was.
I'm not feeling this
So
case.
it's going inside the right side of her face, entering through some facial bones, and then hits the very tip of her jawbone here.
Wow.
Enters through the neck, hitting the vertebral artery, which is an important artery sending blood from heart.
I ain't never seen nothing like this.
And then exits out the back side of her neck at the hairline.
Okay. So if the muzzle was slightly in front of her,
I ain't gonna tell you what the judge looked like because I'm trying to be nice.
was this a fatal wound?
Yes.
Would it have been immediate fatal?
Yes.
Would it have been immediate?
Look, T, I ain't gonna tell you what the judge about the judge. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut so
More close-up view of that.
you two won't be complaining.
Was there another? So we've talked about 2. We've talked about the one to the left forehead. We talked about the one to the cheek. Where was there another one?
There was a third one
Told
on
him.
the left side of the head, but just a little farther back.
Be quiet.
D13. Is this in fact the first one you're referring to?
Yes, it is.
Path of travel, where it entered,
Okay,
So
T, let
I'm
me let
going to
me
refer
listen.
to my report starting on page 5. This is Roman numeral 2 within the report. So this entrance wound, like I said, is a little bit further back on, but still on the left side of
All I
the
know, they were
entrance
trying to
to the
run and want to
mouth.
make sure she was
There's a
gone.
small
Run and want to take her
perforate
out.
on
Period.
the left parietal and right
A hot
occipital
mess.
portions of the brain. The
You
right
sound like my
cerebellum
daughter.
is
That my
recessed,
daughter word, hot mess.
brain and cerebellum is a little bit lower.
Oh, girl,
And
you a
the
mess.
right side of the occipital bone, so the back of your head, just before you're getting to the
Oh,
midbrain,
Lord.
and that's where it exits the head.
And they supposed to
And
be in Tampa.
so
Tampa
this was again
strict.
a perforating wound.
Yes.
All right, and I'm going to show you before. Obviously, in this photograph here, it
Girl, you a
states
mess.
13. The head appears to be the hair was shaved off, correct?
Yes.
Prior to shaving the hair, do you inspect the hair to see if there's any objects, anything of evidentiary value that you might find on the hair?
Yes.
Did you find something in this particular case?
Yes, it did.
Okay, I'm showing you what's marked as State's Exhibit D14. Do we see what you identified as potential evidence in this case?
Yes. So adjacent to the exit wound, within her hair, there was a small fragment of projectile. We can see it in the photograph above the 1.5.
Lady, sit down so we can hear you in the mic, honey.
Now, going back to this
I don't
wound,
know if y'all doing y'all job right.
you said it had a corresponding exit wound. I'm going to show you what's marked as D15. Is this, in fact, the exit wound to that particular injury?
Yes, it is.
All right. And again, this is for the photograph, it's above the ruler and kind of in the upper part of her neck, right?
In the back of the head, yes.
Back of the head, yes. Okay. And again, this wound was immediately fatal?
See, running when running were coaching them folks when Robert was shooting her, running were coaching her.
Yes, they were.
Okay.
Running were coaching them. Man, I can see him now.
So the only wound that she could have actually survived and walked around and so forth was the one to her back.
Correct.
Wow. I think she would have
Do
survived.
you sometimes make note of identifying features of a person, especially for those that are come in that are unidentified?
Yes.
All right, I'm showing you what's marked as State's Exhibit D19. This is, in fact, an example of one of those situations.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so this was a tattoo, correct?
Yes.
All right, and the reason for taking these pictures is also, besides just documenting the body and how you found it, but you can also use this later for
And you know what, T? And what tripped me out is what is a 14-year-old doing like that, jumping in the car with a grown man like that?
Of other injuries.
Yes.
And running away just to be with a grown man. Come on now.
Page 8 of the report. So there were blunt impact wounds. So those are things like bruises, scratches, what we call abrasions, lacerations, or cuts in the skin. In this case, she had 2 bruises. One on the right forearm, as we just actually saw in that photo with the tattoo. There was a small contusion or bruising above the R in the tattoo.
Don't you get up.
Circular discoloration here is a bruise. She also had a faint green purple contusion or bruise to the left arm. And then she had some healing abrasions or scratches on her left ankle.
What?
Would this be the other bruising you're referring to?
Yes.
And the abrasions you're referring to, D18, is that kind of documenting that?
Yes.
All right. And those were healing, though, correct?
Those are starting to heal, yes.
Yes. All right. So you don't know whether or not those, you can't say whether or not
She
those
was
are related at all
beautiful.
to what happened at that time.
She was strong too now. 5'9".
You obtained these, was there any other fragments aside from the one we just talked about?
5'9". That girl was strong.
As well?
There was a additional fragment along with the wound path.
Where was that? It was along the wound path?
So.
And see, Ronnie knew he had to make sure that they take her out of here because somebody, and I believe somebody,
This one
know Ronnie in her family.
and around those exit wounds and within.
I believe so.
Okay. And what is done when you obtain those
I
fragments?
believe her family know Ronnie. Somebody know Ronnie within her family.
They're, again, photographed and then placed in sealed evidence envelopes, and then I seal them with evidence tape, and then I sign over that to make sure that there's
no contamination there, and then that is given into police custody for them to do all of their testing.
Okay, so like for instance, D21, would this be those things that you sealed up?
Cause think about it, T. If he
D22,
not familiar with
that's
anybody in her family,
and you in fact put them in there yourself?
you take somebody out when you
Collect
don't want
and
them
they
to
come in
identify
for
you.
them to photograph and seal.
I believe she had got a way
D23,
she could identify him.
That is
Right
one of
now,
the fragments.
she left her phone to identify him. I think somebody know him and ain't telling us. I really do.
is that basically the same fragment just turned around?
Yes, we take multiple sides of the fragment.
The D25, is that the other fragment that you were talking about?
Yes.
Okay. And then those are turned over to law enforcement and then to do whatever they can do, whatever they want to.
Correct.
Do you also take x-rays of the bodies before you start the autopsy or when you're doing the autopsy?
Yes, before starting any of the autopsy and then potentially with it during the autopsy as well.
Okay. And do you use those sometimes to help you locate particular fragments or anything like that?
Yes.
And in D26, is this an example of that x-ray that was done in this particular case?
Yes.
Okay. And then D27, this is, would this be her skull?
Yes, we're looking at a side profile of her skull.
Okay. And so if there had been any fragments within her skull, would this have shown through this x-ray?
Yes.
And based on this x-ray, does it show that there were none?
You actually see very faint of the fragments that were actually in her hair.
Don't get up. Don't get up.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yep. Okay. So that will diagram those particular fragments.
Yes.
So they were actually on the outside, not on the inside. They were just in the hair.
Correct.
So that's how they showed up on this.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Doctor, after conducting your examination, what did you determine the cause and manner of death?
Uh-oh.
This is page 2 of my report. So the cause of death were gunshot wounds to head, perforating skull and brain.
In the manner?
The manner of death was homicide, shot by another person or persons by firearm arms.
Ronnie. Ronnie Walker. Gunshot wound to her head took her out of him. And Ronnie's sitting there, look at him. Let me, he upset me. Let me move my phone.
Anything else that could have caused her death?
No.
All right. Was she basically healthy other than the wounds that she suffered?
Yes, no natural diseases indicated at autopsy.
All right.
There she go. Big bad, big bad. Now here she go. Now they about to take all day. Only thing she gonna do is stay in her phone. Stay on that computer.
Dr. Perkins, I want to talk to you about those, what you mentioned, bruises on the right
I
forearm.
think she would.
Yes. You mentioned that they potentially occurred at or around the time of the shooting based upon the color of the bruises.
No, I can't tell the exact timing.
She
It's
can't
possible-
tell you the time. She told you that.
It is possible, but you can't say when exactly those occurred.
Correct.
Okay. And using the color of bruising to determine the timing of it is not an exact science. And those bruises, those could have occurred simply just from someone falling to the ground.
Yes.
Yeah, she got smart, man.
The gunshots. I think what you told Mr. Terry, I gave him an extra degree. What you told Mr. Terry is that you cannot tell the sequence of the gunshot.
Correct.
Meaning you cannot tell us which of the wounds occurred first.
Correct.
In your autopsy report, you number the wounds 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. Yes.
But those numbers have nothing to do with, again, the order in which they were sustained.
No, I simply do a top to bottom ordering of my wounds.
There's nothing about this case that can give you that determination of which wound occurred first.
No.
No. It never could happen that
During
way.
your preliminary examination of the body, is it also customary that you
In this case, yes.
You mentioned when you were talking about close range gunshot wounds and stippling and soot that if there is sort of a barrier, such as clothing, that can prevent any sort of stippling on the skin.
Yes.
However, if you have the clothing, you have the ability to inspect it to determine whether there's any sort of soot or any evidence of gunpowder on that clothing.
Yes, I'll do visual inspection, but any other further testing is done by law enforcement and crime scene.
Sure. And again, that clothing in this case was available to you.
Yes.
And was, when you were done inspecting it or doing whatever you needed to, provided to law enforcement.
Yes.
That's right. She's supposed to.
You mentioned a number of wounds, but in total, I think 4 gunshot wounds and 4 associated exits.
Yes.
Girl, you funny.
Gunshot wounds occur on the left side of the body.
Correct.
There is only one gunshot wound to the right side.
Correct.
And is that the gunshot wound to the cheek?
Yes.
Okay. And that is a wound that would have immediately incapacitated the victim.
Yes.
Meaning she would not have been able to move around after sustaining that wound to the right side of her body.
Correct.
On the right side of the body, no, she couldn't move. On the left side, she was
You
moving.
were speaking with Mr. Terry about the wound to, I believe, the left shoulder or the left back.
Right, T.
Yes.
Like Jarvis.
Position and asked you, is it possible that the deceased would have been in a certain position? Do you recall that line of questioning?
Just asking dumb questions.
Can say that that is the position she was in.
Correct.
All we could do is, I can stand up here all day long and give you different scenarios, and you could tell me possible or not possible.
Yes, there are a number of positions.
But there is nothing about that wound, nothing about this case that you've reviewed.
Did you see him? You know what, T? That man was asleep. You know what?
That's correct.
I didn't say nothing about him being asleep. I thought it was me. I said that man asleep.
That wound associated with the left shoulder or the
Girl, these folks a mess.
side of the body. You said you did not observe any gunpowder or soot or stippling.
No.
You know what?
That is very important. By the clothing of the deceased, you had that.
What is on national TV?
There
He
was
sleep.
an association
Sit down, Kappa.
with that gunshot wound.
You right. On national
Can you
TV,
remind
he
us
was
again,
asleep.
Where was that exit wound?
That was on the right side of her back.
Sit down.
You're able to follow the path that the projectile took through the body, correct?
Yes.
So it's moving essentially from left side of the body to the right side.
Correct.
There is projectile or no projectile fragments located within
She
that
talking
path.
about.
Not with that wound.
Okay, so that means the projectile would have exited the body of the deceased.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what she told you. She told you that's what the projectile would have did.
And that wound that we're discussing, the one to the back, that is the only wound that would not have rendered.
You know what she doing? The defense attorney right here. It's repeating what she just said. That's what she doing.
Terry asked you about a wound that had an exit, I think, to the back of the neck, correct?
Yes.
And that he asked you a question of whether the muzzle would have been right in front of the decedent's face.
Yes.
Okay. You cannot tell us whether or not the decedent was conscious at the time that she sustained that wound, can you?
No.
Okay. May I have a moment, Your Honor?
No, she can't tell that she conscious at that time. Child, she wasn't there. Oh yeah, that's what she doing. T, she doing the same thing that Jarvis Butler attorney do. Only thing this lady right here did was repeat what that woman just said. Now here she go.
To the back, Dr. Perkins, is that the only wound that did not hit any sort of major arteries or other organs of the body?
No, it did not. It hit skin and some superficial muscles of the body.
That would not have been. That's the only non-fatal wound.
Correct.
Okay.
So that must be the one running must have hit her with that bullet right there. So why she concerned about that one?
Sure.
Ooh, Lord. I think she ain't that good. Well, she is a defense
I don't
attorney.
have anything else. Thank you, Dr. Perkins.
Doctor, going back to that wound in the back part of the body,
Yes.
that wound travels almost the full length of her back through her body, correct?
Yes.
All right. And so, when a projectile enters the body, does it often lose velocity?
Yes, it does.
In fact, you don't find projectiles in the body themselves.
Yes.
Do you often find projectiles in the body themselves?
Yes, we have penetrating gunshot wounds, which are when the bullet does not exit the body.
So if a bullet goes into the body, the minute as it's traveling through the body, does it start to continue to lose velocity the farther into the body it goes?
Yes.
And in this instance, we have some projectiles that are recovered very near where the victim's body was recovered. If those projectiles had gone through the head, could it be possible that they were just dropped right there because they lost all their velocity to go any farther?
That's possible.
Okay. And so, for instance, the one that goes through the back, as it comes out, could it have lost most of its velocity by the time it exits the back? She's an expert. I can ask her. Is
That's
it
a good
possible that
question.
lost velocity by that point?
She getting on my nerve this bit back right here. See, I'm gonna tell you what she do, what she doing, what she just did. See, it's something about that bullet that hit the back of her neck. She trying to act like that's the one that really that it didn't cause the effect of her dying, which it did. It was the bullet on the right side of her head, not the left side. She trying to. Ronnie must have shot too. Ronnie must have shot that girl too, cause she that attorney, his attorney, they trying to defend that. It doesn't matter. When they found out on the see if he hadn't shot her on the right side, she would have been living. So she was still moving. She was still on the left side, and they would still pound her, pew, pew pew in her. But when they hit it on the last time with the on the right side of the brain, it took her out. That's what this lady right here, the autopsy lady, trying to say. I really believe Ronnie was the only one that, you know what, Ronnie did. I'm like you, allegedly Ronnie did shot. She defending that bullet that hit the back of her neck. That's your vertebrae right there. She could have got paralyzed. We don't know whereabout on the back. He shot on because he hit her scapula on the back of her back. The scapula, the shoulder muscle. If he hit that, then she's a young girl. So her body can take more than mine. So she was living, but they didn't want her to live. So she won't be able to describe Ronnie. So I believe that Ronnie, somebody in their adopted family know Ronnie. Or either her biological parents know Ronnie. Because why would he don't want to be identified? He identified now.
What areas, what muscles it went through, how long, how the length of the muscle that it went through, what it had to go through
Right.
before it exited the body.
Yes, so this wound, this is referring to page 7 of my report, enters on the left side of the back and perforates into the subcutis, so that's the tissue just deep to the skin. And goes through the left side into the right side of what we call the right scapular region of the back. So
Left side to the right side.
And that's where it exits the body. So it goes.
So the bullet was traveling.
Soft tissue, and then very superficially perforates some of the.
Oops, I'm sorry. The bullet was traveling.
Musculature.
That it goes through. Okay, and then it has to exit out the body through skin again.
Yes.
So
Right.
The bullet enters through skin and has to exit through that same skin.
Yes.
All right. And again, is it going back to that wound, that back wound?
Get on the microphone.
Dr. Bennett said there's all sorts of possibilities, but the one I suggested was if she's
Why he not on the microphone?
someone from the front seat turns around to shoot her, she sees that and ducks down, would that be consistent or possible for that bullet to have entered and left?
Judge, tell the man to use his mic.
Thanks, nothing further.
See, I didn't even hear what he said. That was good right there. So that lady told us how she died. Running, running, running. Running hired them men to he hired them men and them men, you know what kind of men they are. Ronnie hired them to do what they did, and they did what Ronnie wanted them to do. Ronnie participated as well. The sugar daddy in trouble. Now who next? Let me see. Let me see who next, y'all. Okay, here come the prosecutor. Let's see who coming up next. Let me skip it. Who coming up next? Lord have mercy. Where the judge went back there to eat a banana? Look at Ronnie, y'all. I can't. Oh my God, I just can't do Ronnie. I can't do Ronnie. Ronnie wasn't nothing but old pimp. Oh, a pimp. That's all he was. Look at him. Look at him. We here because of you, a 14-year-old girl. And see, that girl was young. She had strong muscles, and she would have survived. But he didn't. Ain't no man in the world that man right there was gonna let her survive. And she can identify everybody in that car, which he still didn't get away with nothing because he was still identified. Then he tried to get that other man up there to lie, and that other man who locked up, he didn't know Robert's son. It's a ooh Lord, honey, y'all. Ooh shoot. I didn't care what nobody said about me. I was a strict mama. And I'm glad I was at that time. Because back then, it was too much going on. Now, what they doing right here?
Xander had. So the laboratory tested for chlamydia.
Hold up, y'all. They brought her back. Let me take this back a little bit. They brought her back. There go your boy, T. It was nice watching with you about to cook. All right, T, I appreciate you stopping by. Tell your boy bye. All right. I enjoyed you too. I know you better cook and have his food ready. Okay, baby. Let me skip this a little bit. I'm gonna skip a little bit, y'all. I want to get to this part because this part right here is the reason why Ronnie took her out. That's why I want this part right here. This the STD part. Campbell, sit down. Excuse me, y'all. That's my dog, honey. Okay, let me skip it. No, I want to hear her talk about the STD. Hold on. Cause Ronnie tried to act like that's what she had. Hold on, y'all. I got to get to that part. I wanted did she have a STD? Let me skip it to that part. Yeah. Okay, they coming back in right here. That's the part I'm interested in. Did she have a STD? Cause he took her out. So did he lie about that? Did he lie about her passing the STD to? Um, Yeah. He will. We can't hear you, Judge. Use your mic. So y'all, they're gonna bring her back up. I think this the autopsy lady. They're gonna bring her back out, and I wants to know: Did she have a? Did she have any? Here we go. Any kind of STD. Here we go.
Um, Judge, the court just instructed the witness that she is still under oath. Yes, sir. Yes, thank you very much. Dr. Perkins, um, during your examination of Nilexia Alexander, did you also do some testing for sexually transmitted diseases? Yes. And did you find any sexually transmitted diseases that Ms. Alexander had?
So the laboratory tested for chlamydia and Neisseria gonorrhea, and both of those came back negative.
Wow. So she had chlamydia and gonorrhea. If that's why you took her out, y'all could have got a shot for that. I'm glad they now you happy. Now he just want to prove that she had a STD. That's what he want to prove, y'all. Okay, so you got what you asked for. Now let's get to him. Now who it is? I don't want to hear about
In
it.
Highland.
And why did you respond to that location?
I was contacted by my sergeant and informed that a homicide had occurred in that area and that I would be acting as the lead detective.
And are there specific assignments in the homicide unit at Tampa Police Department?
There are, yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us what those assignments are?
Yes, typically for a normal homicide, we'll send out multiple detectives. The assignments that are given out are one, going to be the lead, which I was in this case. You're going to have a secondary detective who's assigned to me throughout the initial investigation. That was Detective Nikki Sackrider for this investigation. And then you're going to have a scene detective, who's going to, in this case, was Detective Aaron Campbell.
Okay. And so you as lead, what are your responsibilities?
We are kind of what
I'm gonna skip it a little bit.
detective is, so we're
I'm skipping it, y'all.
Did you determine that they were consistent?
They were, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, so can we assume from this investigation that the 2905 North Highland Avenue video was one that was found quickly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, moving on forward, what was it that you did after you interviewed Alan Wallace?
We went to a residence of 3000 North Highland. There's obvious cameras on the actual residents themselves, and made contact with them in attempts to get that video.
And the 3005 North Highland video, was that at all relevant to this case?
3000 Highlands, where we went after the interview with Mr.
Okay.
Wallace.
So the 3000 North Highland, was that relevant?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, why did you deem that one to be relevant?
The residence sits at the intersection where the homicide occurred, and it had video pointing towards the actual intersection. And at the time, we don't know if it's recording, but we do observe video that is pointing in the direction that we're interested in. So that's why we made contact with them. Ultimately, it does yield video of the actual intersection and towards the scene.
Okay. And so you were able to collect it, is that correct? You
Yes.
and other officers?
Correct, yes. We used HSO, Video Forensic Tech, to collect the video, yes, ma'am.
And that would have been Mark Montano, is that correct?
That is correct, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And upon collecting it, did you also check to see if the time frame on the video was inaccurate?
We did. That was done through Forensic Tech Mark Montana, who provided that information to me, but yes, it was checked.
Okay. And so now, upon getting the video from 3000 North Highland Avenue and the video from 2905 North Highland Avenue, do you now have audio and video depicting an anything of evidentiary value?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In reviewing these videos, what did you determine to be of evidentiary value?
There is a vehicle that matched the description provided by witness Mr. Wallace. Is a sedan that pulls onto the street. Ultimately, it goes and turns around, comes back, stops where the body was located. Its headlights are turned off. Shortly after the gunshots, the vehicle then pulls away with its headlights off, and then makes a northbound turn.
So have you reviewed that video from 3000 North Highland Avenue?
Yes, ma'am.
And in watching the video turn around, would you say you watched it multiple times?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, was it significant at all, if there's any information there, as it pertains to where the body was found and the driver, whether it would have been on the driver's side of the vehicle as it turned around, or the front passenger? Did you make that determination?
Yes, you can see that in the video. The victim would have been found on the driver's side of the vehicle after it's turned around.
Okay.
Okay, she got on the driver's
And was
side.
that significant to you as you moved forward in this investigation?
Every time she get up there, that lady called him up there. Mm-mm-mm. I'm gonna skip it, y'all.
Approximately 0.25 miles now.
Okay. All right. Was there any other investigative leads that you were able to make on May the 12th that we have not discussed?
No, ma'am.
Moving on to May the 13th, were you still working on this case on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
At some point that day or thereabouts, did you obtain information for the phone number that you had now associated with Nilexia Alexander?
Yes, ma'am, we did.
Okay. Did you review it?
I did.
What, if anything, significant did you learn about that information?
We reviewed the time advanced for the records, and we noted that prior to the homicide, it obviously moves into the area of the homicide, and then after the homicide, it leaves the area of the homicide and travels away from the scene.
Okay. Tell us what timing advance means.
It's records from T-Mobile. They have a system that kind of collects the distance from a user from the cell site, and we're able to use that to geographically put a device in the area from the data.
And did you do that personally?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you go about doing that?
We have a system referred to as CellHawk that we're able to put the data into, and all that does is just take the raw data that we have on a spreadsheet and then puts it into a visual form that's easier to review.
Wow, all
And
this
then when you
technology.
put this information in CellHawk, what is it that it spits out? What is it that you see?
You're going to see your data on the left-hand side, so you'll have a user-friendly version of it on your left-hand side, and then ultimately you will have a function where you can map the locations that the data is providing.
Okay. And so how do you see it? Is it sort of like a moving video showing us the movement of the phone or the device, or is it just a map?
That's one feature you can use. So the answer to that is both.
Okay.
So you have an option where you can click on the data, and every single point that is in that file will come up. A lot of times when you have these massive files, it just turns into a big blob.
Can we see the
screen.
files?
Your second option is you can make it animated, and you can have a movie map, and you can track through.
Who did you determine that to be?
Mr. Robert Quincy Creed.
Okay. And ultimately, at some point, did Robert Creed identify himself as coming out of that vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you at some point come in contact with David White?
I did, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did he ever identify himself as coming out of the front passenger seat or even being in Ronnie Walker's vehicle?
No, ma'am. I'm sorry. He did not identify himself in that vehicle whatsoever.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So just three
However,
people.
when you spoke to David White, pertains to this case, um, did he acknowledge knowing Ronnie Walker?
He did, yes, ma'am.
Did he acknowledge knowing Robert Creed? May be a privilege.
That's a good question. He used all his buddies to take that girl out of him. He used all three of his buddies, all four of his buddies. That man know a whole lot of people. It's something big about running. It's something big about running. Let me skip it a little bit.
This is stills from the video.
Let me take it back a little bit right here. They're running. No, that's Robert. Oh, they're running. I knew it what they show me. Don't nobody look like them but them.
What is going on? It's supposed to be documents, right? This one? And then document. Why is this so complicated? Thank you. So obviously at the time that you came in contact with David White, this was later in time, is that correct?
That's correct, yes, ma'am.
But during your investigation, you did come upon video from Thornton's, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when you came in contact with Matthew White, based on your conversations with him, did you show him video from the video?
David White, yes, ma'am.
David White?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is stills from the video. Did David White make a positive identification of Ronnie Walker?
Yes, ma'am.
That look like Ronnie right
Did you
there.
show him footage that depicted Ronnie Walker as this, as we have him here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. State Exhibit E2, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Don't nobody else look like Ronnie but Ronnie.
Sir, did you show Mr. David White this video?
Now this somebody else.
And did he identify Ronnie Walker as the individual in this video?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he ever indicate to you at any point that no one could possibly make an ID from that video?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And as it pertains to the individual that came out of that vehicle, State Exhibit E5.
That's Robert.
Did you show David White this video that depicted this individual?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that based on information that David White told you about his association with Ronnie Walker and Robert Creed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did David White make an identification of the individual in this video?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did he make any comment about he looked like a taller version or a shorter version of this individual?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
You said that was Robert, baby. Don't nobody look like Robert but Robert. Don't nobody
During
look.
your conversation with Ronnie Walker on May the 13th of 2022, did you speak with Mr. Walker about his phone?
Yes, ma'am.
And what, if anything, did he tell you about his phone?
That it was lost.
Okay. And what was the time frame
What?
in which he had said it had been lost for?
About 2 weeks prior.
He lost his phone.
Did he tell you where he was staying at the time of this murder?
Yes, ma'am.
What
provided a location of 18th Street and 26th Avenue.
Okay. Did he tell you who he was staying with?
Yes, ma'am.
Who did he say?
His girlfriend.
And who was his girlfriend?
His
Erica.
girlfriend was Erica Sweet. However, during the interview, when asked who he knew at TGH, he provided a name for his girlfriend, Erica Hudson.
At any point during this conversation with Mr. Walker, did he at any point correct himself and say, no, actually her name has never been Erica Hudson, it's Erica Sweet? Did he do that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So the name that he told you of his girlfriend was Erica Sweet.
Erica Hudson.
Erica Hudson.
Erica Hudson.
Okay. But that day, did Erica Sweet show up at Giant Oats?
She did.
Okay, so did you come in contact with her?
I did, yes, ma'am.
Did you speak with her?
I did.
Did you learn her relationship with Ronnie Walker?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you determine that relationship to be?
Boyfriend, girlfriend.
Now, at some point, any point, did you learn the address for Erica Sweet?
Yes, ma'am.
So hold up.
That's 1801.
Hold up. So we got an Erica Hudson and an Erica Sweet. There go Jarvis Butts. Got all these girlfriends, all these different girlfriends. So you got a girlfriend named Erica Hudson and an Erica Sweet. Man, the woo wee. Pimp, pimp, pimp.
East 26th Avenue.
Okay. And that's in Hillsborough County, correct?
That's correct, yes, ma'am.
All right.
Players.
During your conversation with Ronnie Walker, did he say anything or did you learn any information about what phone he was using on or around the time of the murder?
I was provided that he did have access to Erica Sweet's phone.
So he gonna use somebody else's phone.
Did, when you spoke to Ronnie Walker, did he tell you that he found anything in his vehicle? At that point, when you spoke to him, did he hand over a phone that belonged to Nilexia Alexander to you?
No, ma'am.
When you came in contact with Ronnie Walker on May the 13th of 2022, did he provide you with any cartridge casings from his vehicle?
No, ma'am.
Did you find a cartridge casing or two in his vehicle when you ultimately executed the search warrant on the vehicle?
No, ma'am.
Did you actually execute a search warrant on the Ford?
We did, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Was the Ford documented, searched, and evidence collected?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you find a phone belonging to Nilexia Alexander in the vehicle?
No, ma'am.
Did you find casings in that vehicle?
No, ma'am.
Did you find anything of evidentiary value in that vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you find?
Ultimately, when the vehicle was processed, we found indications of the presence of blood inside the vehicle. And ultimately, swabs were taken and sent off to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
So he got rid of Erica's
How
phone.
about a jacket? Did you find a jacket?
We did, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did that become relevant during your investigation?
Yes, ma'am.
Why is that irrelevant?
And I think you indicated that you were out and about.
Everything is relevant.
You went to the crime scene, though, on May the 6th of 2022, correct?
Correct, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Was it a cold day?
Get back on the mic.
No, ma'am.
Wear a jacket?
No, ma'am.
Where'd she go? Ooh, Lord have mercy. I want the prosecutor to come up. I want the defense attorney to come up here.
Reflection.
He don't answer no question for me. Let me skip it to the defense. What do the defense has to say? 'Cause
At 1803 East 26th Avenue.
I did.
Why?
That was the area.
Was the evidence?
she's still talking to him. Hold on, y'all.
Location of her and everything.
Objection, improper question, obeys the ethics of the jury.
The evidence. And that's
You hadn't asked him, what, did you have probable cause?
Hold up. Let me take it back on. Right on. What's going on? Judge ready to go home, y'all. He dismissed the jury. Mm-mm. I think the cameraman didn't do a good job with the microphone, with seating the camera.
That's fine. But to go further and to ask about specific principles of the law when we don't know that this witness even has the appropriate understanding of the law is not relevant, and it's an improper question for this witness to answer.
John, my response is that probable cause is a law that he has to use every day.
Why has he got the camera on her back?
Use every day.
This is terrible.
Principal theory that he made.
He doesn't make that every day. The state attorney's office makes a decision whether to charge somebody as a principal.
No.
You can file it, but you guys make the decision whether to charge him.
Right.
They don't, he doesn't charge him the first degree, you arrest him for it, you're all the ones in charge.
Exactly.
So you
So he may,
you make those decisions.
I'm not asking him whether he went to, whether he charged it. I'm asking if he made the decision regarding the arrest. I'm just talking about what he does every day. He makes decisions every day on day have to be familiar with the law as they determine probable cause? If he says he is aware of it, then the answer is yes. And based on the mere presence law, there was no basis or probable cause to arrest. That's it. Because all the law enforcement had was, this person is in the car.
Right.
And we all know.
Look at the judge.
She didn't ask him as probable cause. She said, "Did you have enough to charge Mr. Creed?" And she said, she even asked again when she was asking him about the fact that he threatened him with charging him with murder, and he said, "Did he have enough to charge him?" He said, "No."
Let's go back to the charge. Sir, can you say the charge?
It's not up to them. It's gonna be up to the jury anyway. It's gonna be up to the jury anyway, not the attorneys.
Okay.
They don't make the decision.
That's very simple, right?
So I don't know what they trying to do in this trial right here.
That you, with the information you had, charged Robert Creed with premeditated questions.
I don't know why we even doing this because it's not gonna be up to them.
In terms of the arrest, the day that they spoke to him. Now I'm talking about now subsequent to that. Now they're.
This is subsequent. This is, they've never had it.
So July, I beg your pardon? I thought that, and I will defer to the record, obviously, I'm not sitting here recording what I'm saying, but I thought that when I asked that question was for his first interview, and now they go to the second interview, right? And I still feel like I still haven't asked if you had probable cause to arrest. I'm just saying now with the information, has anything changed? If you're sustaining the objection, fair enough, but I don't remember asking him if he had probable cause later on.
You
even
didn't
after
ask him that. She didn't ask him that. Man, what in the world? She didn't ask him that. That world. So are you taking notes, Judge, or not?
Judge, in this case, so I would like to point out to the court, their entire opening was the state charged the wrong person.
You're gonna get a redirect.
Okay, I'm just saying.
See what happens.
Okay, because I think it's important that the state is allowed to explore what evidence they believe they had to charge him. And if
Well,
they thought,
first of all, what they said is an evidence. So for them to get evidence in, they're gonna have to talk about it and have it come out of the state.
Understood.
And then you're gonna have an opportunity to redirect.
okay, as long as the court understands, because that was the basis of their entire opening, was they just pointing the finger at him. And I think it's critical that the jury understand we didn't have any evidence. We could not charge Robert.
It's been covered well enough, and if they open up those redirect.
I think the prosecutor doing a good job. I think they about to go anyway, y'all. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Did you ask him questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he provide any information that you had not relayed to the public?
Yes, ma'am.
Come on, prosecutor. She not that good.
Now, based on information that Stanley Wilson had provided to you, did you inform the is there a dive team unit at Tampa Police Department?
There is, yes, ma'am.
Did you contact the dive team department?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what was the purpose of you doing that?
Right.
He provided information of a possible location where evidence was discarded in this case.
And to be clear, the information that Stanley Wilson provided as to the location that evidence might have been discarded Was it very specific or just a general area?
Area.
Okay. But still, did you tell the dive team that you wanted them to look for anything in particular?
Yes, ma'am.
What was it that you asked the dive team to look for?
A firearm.
Okay. And to your knowledge, did they actually do?
Yes, ma'am.
And was anything located?
No, ma'am.
To this
What?
day, have you obtained the firearm associated with this case?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Y'all don't have a firearm?
There were 6 shots, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
How many casings were collected at the crime scene?
Right.
If he personally knows.
Oh, they couldn't find the gun. But they got those percentiles though.
How many casings were collected at the crime scene in this case?
I believe 4.
Okay. And did you ever find an additional 2?
Ma'am.
Okay. How about Nilexia's phone? The phone associated with Nilexia. Did you ever find that?
No, ma'am.
Y'all didn't find her phone? You didn't find the phone, you didn't find the gun. But we know they shot her.
Now, sir, as it pertains to the casings
And we know the
in this
gun was in the
case
car.
that were found on scene, did you have them dusted or processed for prints?
No, ma'am.
And why is that?
Why?
There's process that we can do with the casings. Ultimately, you have to select a route that you go. In this case, the processing that was selected by Detective Campbell was the process that was going to yield a higher result at the initial stages of the investigation.
Okay. And did you swab the casings for DNA?
They did not.
And is that for the same reason, because of the other process that you were going to take?
Correct.
Okay.
He still can't get out of this. Because we knew that was a gun. And that phone did bing. So he found out that the phone was how to find that
Now, sir,
phone.
Your Honor, for the record, I'd like to reintroduce State Exhibit 31, because there was already a 30C, and I do apologize. I have discussed it with them.
Okay, y'all, I'm gonna start right here for the day. Um, let me see. Hold on, I'm not. Hold on. No, I'm not. I can't skip. Let's go. Let's go back. Here we go. I can't go nowhere right now, y'all. I got to get this part.
Now, State Exhibit 36C. What was the purpose of you creating this map?
This is depicting quickly the video that was obtained in this case and then the path of travel of the suspect vehicle post-homicide.
Do you mind standing up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you please tell us map based on this map?
They don't have a stick.
So you're going to have our homicide scene here. That's going to be the intersection of Nebraska and Highland. The initial video that we have there is a 3000 Highland address. The vehicle then travels northbound. We obtained video here at Tampa Street of the vehicle crossing eastbound over Tampa Street, and then picked up on the Body Parts of America camera here at the next indication of the dot.
Well, let's slow down for a second. Are you also have you also indicated the time frames on that map? Right here, like that, 308.
Yeah, the time frames are there. I'll have to take your word that says 3. It's a
You
little
can't
dark
see.
there.
Okay, let me
But-
see. I can probably do better. Okay.
Perfect. There we go.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Yes, ma'am. So this is going to
Henry Dinkins, y'all.
time frames of the vehicle
Okay.
that they are on the video. Again, 308 is the time of our homicide.
Ooh,
The vehicle
wait.
travels up northbound.
Traveling boy.
Across Tampa Street, 309. Get captured.
That go to homicide scene.
America. The business video where it cuts northbound through that alleyway, so not going to the main thoroughfare here, but instead cuts through a back alleyway.
Wow.
It then exits out of the alleyway on the north side of it, which is the Adelaide address that we have, and continues westbound The
He
hospital
took
was
her in the
confirmed
hood,
during
to the
the
hood.
testimony. It's here located. It's on the exit route of the vehicle.
And that's Graham's place, correct?
Correct. Graham's
Okay.
Place Hospital. Yes, ma'am. It's captured there. Continues westbound again, where it's the Reagan Church. And then we have video here as well. Has like a little jot down on the street, and this is Miss Brown's residence. And then searching a wider scope for video of vehicles
Wow.
consistent with the suspect vehicle, is seen crossing over the realm.
Oh, wait.
Okay. And then ultimately it's at Thornton's.
Correct. And the time for here is 3:20 in the AM.
And
Mm.
is that the location of Thornton's?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Well, I'm gonna stop it right here for number one. I'm gonna put it back on the map that she just showed. For number one, uh, my conclusion is that Ronnie is a part of the crime. Ronnie. They have enough evidence here, even if they don't have a gun, even if they don't have Alexa's phone, no Alexia phone, they still Ronnie, Robert, all of them connected to this, and Ronnie too. Well, I said Ronnie before. They underlied this young lady. They shot her a couple of times. She could have survived. Her body, she was still trying to move, y'all. She was still alive. And then Ronnie probably said to himself, man, we gotta take her out of him. So even though Ronnie did something to the gun, even though Ronnie find out, oh man, the phone been here the whole time, man, I don't know, man. He got the phone in the car and the phone binging and everything, and Ronnie didn't even know it. So Ronnie found out after he been with two different Ericas, Erica S and Erica H. So I don't know what was he pimping? Was he is this a Rico or what is this that we're dealing with right here? But Ronnie is involved. We don't need no gun. We don't need no uh 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 no cell phone. He's different from this case from he's different from Jarvis Butts. See, Jarvis Butts was just like Ronnie. They left their phone and they let their phone still on, telling on them. Ronnie, we found a body. Jarvis Butts, we didn't find a body. So these two individual, sugar daddy, whatever you want to call it, they ain't no sneaker link, they sugar daddies, ain't no good ones. So y'all, what we're gonna do is we're gonna follow up with this trial on Monday. And guess what? We're gonna do him like we did Henry Dinkins and Jarvis Butts. We gonna stay on you, baby. We gonna stay on you, bruh. And I would see y'all. I want to thank y'all for participating and for watching and for putting your. I like when y'all your comments is very important on the case. Your comment is very important on the case. And here go all the evidence. All the evidence. I don't care what they do. Ronnie, you going down. Long as I'm here, you going down. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good weekend. Love y'all. Stay in shape. Be careful. See you later. I'm at.